Hello guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of Unique Items. Today we've got the Heart Carver Rondel on the block, along with your heart, because we're probably going to carve it out. Because why not? I mean, we have a special knife for carving hearts. I mean, when you're holding a hammer, everything becomes a nail. When you're holding a heart carver, everything becomes a heart. Ah, yes, the beautiful heart carver. The Heart Carver Rondel is a really odd item, and it does have some interesting uses, especially on a find potion or find item barbarian. This item can actually be used to increase your Grimoire as well, and of course, as a barbarian, you have the unique ability to dual wield two of them, doubling the effect essentially, and making it into a +8 Grimoire, +8 find item, and +8 find potion. Let's go over the item together, and we'll talk about it in today's video. No Mr. NiNi today, by the way. I have Cody with me today, the big monster dog. And Cody and Mr. Nimoy don't mix together. I don't want Cody to eat Mr. Nimoy. That would be bad. So right off the bat, you'll notice that it has 49 to 123 damage, which isn't actually bad for a level 36 item. It's actually kind of decent. It has 58 dexterity requirement and 25 strength requirement. It also has a level requirement of level 36, which is not bad at all. Honestly, as far as damage goes, the Heart Carver Rondel is actually pretty good for a level 36 character. You could utilize this on a lot of different characters, including a Zeal Paladin, a Frenzy Barbarian. Honestly, you could even use it on like a Fire Claws Druid or something. It really doesn't matter. It has a fast attack speed, of course, because it is a dagger, and unfortunately it does not have any increased attack speed, which is kind of a downside. But because it is already in a relatively fast base, you shouldn't have too much issue with that. It does have a pretty decent amount of enhanced damage, even though it does vary by 50%, so it's 190 to 240%. We also have an additional added damage bonus on this of 15 to 35, which is, of course, min-max, which is why it has such nice damage in the first place. That is on top of course, the enhanced damage. And then we have ITD, which is Ignores Target's Defense. And Ignores Target's Defense is an ability that allows you to hit a monster and ignore their defense. This does not, however, mean that you will guarantee a hit on a monster because the level of your character is also used in the calculation for hit chance, and Ignores Target's Defense does not ignore level difference. So if you're like a level 36 character and you're trying to hit a level 80 monster, you're probably still going to miss most of the time, even with ITD. And the reason is just because level is very important in that regard. We also have 35% chance of Deadly Strike, which is absolutely amazing. That means that you have the ability to double your damage. 35% is actually more than the Barbarian's Combat Mastery when it's maxed out. So as you can see, Combat Mastery is 30% when it's maxed out, and the Deadly Strike chance on this item is higher than the skill gives you. So that means that you're going to have a very nice 35% Deadly Strike on any character that utilizes this, and it also stacks with Critical Strike, not additively, so you don't just get to add 30% to 35 and you end up with 65%. That's not how it works. It is one rolls and then the other. Very simply put, if I had a 50% chance of Critical Strike and a 50% chance of Deadly Strike, I would have a 75% chance of a successful crit. That is basically how the probability works. Now, also we have a static +4 Grimoire, +4 find item, and +4 find potion. All of these can come in really handy for a barbarian because obviously barbarians are very adept at horking corpses and getting items off of them, getting potions off of them, and so forth. And even the Grimoire can actually be really useful nowadays because it has a massive bonus of 120% enemy damage taken and even slows enemies by 69%. The Grimoire is actually a pretty sexy prospect for barbarians these days. And utilizing two of these, you can have level 8 Grimoire, level 8 find item, and level 8 find potion, all of which can come in pretty handy for a lot of purposes. If you've never utilized find potion before, very simply put, it allows you to, kind of just hork corpses for items. Let me go to Nightmare difficulty because these are Nightmare daggers after all, just so that I can show you the abilities here. And let's go kill Eldritch real quick. I may have to take off my Raven Frost, though, because the bodies will pop. It's one of the things about find item, find potion, and find and Grimward is that you know, you don't want the bodies to explode like that one did. All right, and then now that you have your bodies, you're just going to hork your bodies, and you're going to get either A, potions, B, items, which is pretty cool, which also happens to give you gold and things like that, or C, you can also do your Grimward, which gives you the very nice enhanced damage, makes the monsters run away, and slows them all down. You don't necessarily have to have any of these skills, by the way. This is the cool thing about the daggers, is that, you know, like, as a barbarian, if you wanted to actually put points in these, that's one thing. But you could utilize the daggers just to have the skills and the abilities. What I would recommend, though, is if you want to use the Grimward, you still put 20 points into Find Potion, because it is the synergy for Grimward. It's also the synergy for Find Item, believe it or not. You get 1% per level for Find Potion. So a proper Find Item Barbarian is probably going to put 20 points into Find Potion, and then you can do whatever the hell else you want. Because you can wear the daggers, you can put 1 point into Find Item, you can put 20 points into Find Item. You could do it 100 different ways, but specifically to get that synergy bonus, so that when you're using Find Item or Grimward, you need that 20 points to make it viable. You could, of course, have these on swap, so you could have your main weapon on your main hand, and then at any time you could swap over, and you could just have your Find Item on your other hand, and you could utilize it like that, and then swap back when you're done. That's actually a pretty good way to do things as well, just having 2 Heart Carver Rondels on standby. Now, we can also upgrade these, and these are exceptional level items, which means we can upgrade them to the elite tier. If you were going to use them to actually kill things, it would come in handy to get them upgraded to their higher tier. Now, the Heart Carver Rondel, let's go ahead and move me out of the way real quick so you guys can actually see the upgrade. The Heart Carver Rondel is 49 to 123 damage, 58 dexterity, 25 strength, level 36. And that goes to the Heart Carver Mithril Point, which is 140 to 215 damage, 98 dexterity, 55 strength, and level 59. And that's actually not bad. Like, for a level 59 weapon, that's actually not bad, especially considering that it has ITD and Deadly Strike, both of which are honestly awesome effects for melee characters. I mean, you could utilize this on a wide variety of characters, melee characters, to great effect. Then we have the ethereal version, and the ethereal version is going to upgrade even better at 66 to 167 damage, 48 dexterity, level 36 requirement, and 15 strength. To the Heart Carver Mithril Point, 202 to 303, 88 dexterity, 45 strength, level 59. Now, of course, if you wanted to actually utilize the ethereal version for damage, you would have to put a Zod rune in it, and that is kind of a downside, especially since a lot of the times when you're using Heart Carver Rondels, you're using them specifically for the Find Item, Find Potion, etc. So you would think that if you were going to use these as swaps specifically for that purpose, you might want to consider maybe either A, an Ist rune for increased magic find, or B, if you're a Find Gold Barbarian, you can also put a Lem rune in there, which would give you a nice 75% extra gold for monsters. So you could run 2 Heart Carver Rondels, socket them both, put 2 Lem runes in there for 150% extra gold for monsters, or you could run 2 Ist runes for 60% magic find. Either one could be interesting. Now, granted, there are some other options. You could obviously build more into the Find Item, Find Potion category, and then you would run things like Alibabas, or 6 Isted Phase Blades, or 6 Lemmed Phase Blades. You know, there's many, many different options. I think where the Heart Carver Rondel really excels is the characters that don't necessarily want to build a full item Find Barbarian, but would like to still have a decent amount of Find Item. This way you can invest just the 20 points into Find Potion, and then put on 2 Heart Carver Rondels for +8, and then whatever other plus the skills you have will also come into effect. So you can have a pretty decent amount of Find Item without having to go like knee deep into it. As you can see, I'm at 67% chance, which is not bad for basically only having 1 point base into Find Item. And of course, I could have some more plus to skill equipment on. Like right now, I'm using G-Face, I'm using Corpse Mourn, You know, I don't really have a lot of plus to skill equipment on at the moment, which would obviously make that even higher. I think that's pretty much everything when it comes to the Heart Carver Rondel. It is interesting. I do remember there being a bug a while back, and I'm not sure if they fixed it, but sometimes when you wear both Heart Carver Rondels, the find item skill will stop working. And I can't remember what that bug actually entailed, but I do remember the fix for it was to take the Heart Carver Rondels off. That was the only fix I remember that actually worked. You take them off, and then you go hork an item, and then you put them back on, or something like that along those lines. If anybody remembers more specifically about the bug involving the Heart Carver Rondels and the find item, put it down in the comments. As always, I do appreciate you guys and gals watch my videos. And before I forget, because I was about to do the outro, let's go over to Silo's Pen, and let's see where we could potentially find this item on the drop chance calculator, shall we? Alright, so here we are over on Silo's Pen, and let's take a look at where we could potentially find ourselves some Heart Carvers, if we want to look for them specifically. They're level 30 some odd items, so let's assume about 100% magic find. I feel like that's fair. And probability for bosses ignoring quest flags. We have Andorial, which is the only quest flag that actually stays, is 1 in 527 in Nightmare difficulty. That's actually a pretty decent spot. At the level that you find this item, that is certainly a good place to farm it. Looks like Bale in normal can also drop this, but he's kind of a crappy place to farm. If you're leveling up off of him, that's one thing, but I mean, you know, if you get one while you're leveling up off him, you know, thumbs up. If you don't, then go farm Andorial, it looks like. It looks like those are your two best bets. Let's take a look at super uniques as well. So super uniques, it looks like the Cow King and Nightmare has a pretty decent chance at 1 in 1,343, not bad. And everything else is getting a little bit terrible. I'm not seeing a lot of like really good Nightmare level items options. Bone Ash is a pretty decent one in the Cathedral, but 1 in 6,297. Probably not the best probability, especially when you can find one much easier off of Andorial. But there is something to be said for how easy Bone Ash is to get to. In the same time frame it would take you to farm Andorial, you could probably farm Bone Ash like frickin' 10 times. Just simply because he's literally right there by the waypoint. You take the waypoint, you literally walk up, he's right there by the Cathedral, you kill him, save and exit, rinse, repeat. I'm not necessarily going to say Bone Ash is the better choice. It depends on how easily you can get to Andorial in Nightmare difficulty. It also depends on whether you're playing single player or not, because in single player you're going to have the same map over and over again. So finding Andorial could be a lot easier if you have a really nice map, or if you're map hacking. But Bone Ash is by far the easier option to farm repeatedly over and over again, much the same way that Pindleskin can be farmed repeatedly over and over again. In fact, I would even dare say that Bone Ash is generally easier to farm than Pindleskin, because Pindleskin can sometimes massively charge spam you and kill you in like a second. I've had it happen before. If all 6 of his mobs charge spam you at the same time, you can die. As always, I do appreciate you guys and gals watching my videos, and carve some hearts out, shall you? Carve some hearts out for me.